Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. I am a big fan of summertime. Summertime is a time where you naturally want to do more things because the days are brighter, it's warmer, it's usually the most beautiful time of year in terms of the appearance of the days. There's typically more blue sky days in the summer than in any other month in the year. So naturally, when you view summer, or how I view summer, is a beautiful time of year. I mean, spring is nice because of, the blooming flowers. Fall is nice because it gives you a break of the heat from summer. You get the oranges, the browns, the yellows of the leaves changing. Winter is the gloomy time of year, usually very cold, not a whole lot of color. But summer is the one time of year that you can say is probably objectively the most beautiful looking time of year. Now, what does summer include for most people like you and I? Well, usually it's a lot of water in terms of hydration because it is super hot out there. And let's say you're working outside, maybe you're going back and forth, hell, just even like going on like a walk out there will dehydrate you pretty quickly. So hydration is like the number one thing. Number two, this kind of includes me because I'm not the most genetically gifted guy out there. If I'm going to be out in the sun for a while doing something, I have realized that I need to have a little bit of sunscreen on, or I will begin to turn a shade of red, especially on my nose and my face area. I will actually, begin to cook a little bit. I realized this about like maybe 10 years ago when I was swimming with my friends in a pool, and I used to be a guy that was like, well, I'm Mexican. I don't need sunscreen. Turns out I kind of do, because I do tend to sunburn around my nose and face area, and my arms even get a little red as well too. So like that has kind of become an issue where like if I'm going to be outside for a long period of time in the summer and get exposed to all these UV rays, or whatever they're called, then I would need some sunblock. And I could also, assure you that other people that are not as, genetically gifted as I am, even though I'm not the most genetically gifted, need it a lot more than I do, So I never was someone who was able to tan ever. I've never even attempted tanning in my life. I can't imagine, being out there in the summertime where it's super hot, voluntarily just sitting there baking in the sun. I understand that vitamin D is good for us, that sun exposure is good, but just being out there just baking has never been something that has appealed to me ever. So the fact that people can actually do that, sit out there, whether it be on a beach or your backyard, and just kind of lay there and let the sun cook you for hours on end, is truly like something that I could never do. I've never been out there for that long, and not tried to seek out shade. I've just never done that. So that would be something that is just kind of weird to me. I would imagine it would be kind of painful after a while. Like after it would just, you'd start to burn or something like that. I've never used tanning lotion, so I don't even know how that would, how that would either accelerate or, prevent the sun from cooking you as fast as it can. I've never applied that to my body either. I've always been just like a sunblock guy whenever I needed it. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, well, I probably should just avoid being out in the sun that long in the summertime, because to me it's just not that worth it, unless I'm like somewhere where it's not as hot, like the beach. It's funny because summer, brings that time of like being outside, but like usually like where I live in California, it's like a place where you don't want to be outside at all. You know, for us, when we want to go outside in the summertime, we will travel to the coast where it's not as hot as it is in the valley. So in a way, we're kind of breaking away from like the heat, the really hot part of summer where I live, and going to a much cooler location where we can enjoy the same amount of sunlight, but at a much more comfortable temperature, which in a way is kind of like cheating out the season. You know, we're going to a place that's a little bit cooler, and hell, even a 10-degree difference, you can tell, you know, it's much more enjoyable than it being as hot as it can be. I mean, just like ask anybody that lives around here, they'll agree with me. They'll be like, "Yeah, summer's fantastic. It's a beautiful time of year, but if it wasn't so hot, I would enjoy it a lot more." And right now, it's not even like super hot yet. We are approaching mid-June, and I think we've maybe hit 100 like maybe once or twice. I know it's very early in the summer, but I mean, I remember last year's summer, I was getting a little worried with how high that temperature index was approaching on some days in the future forecast. I remember seeing like a day that I think reached, I'm not even kidding you, 116 degrees where I live. And I'm pretty sure, like 5 days before that day even hit, the future cast said it was going to be like maybe 119. And I thought to myself, like, dude, is my area where I live gonna like burn, like actually catch fire? Like that is so hot. How can anything out there that is like not in the shade be alive or even live, you know, without like access to water, you know, when they need it, or some shade, or be able to go inside and cool off for just a little bit? Like that seemed like it was going to be way too dangerous for anything to survive. I can't even imagine dogs and cats that are like outside pets, just like having to deal with that type of heat. You know, it really does. You know, you got to make sure that if you have a dog or a cat that's primarily outside, that they're at least being, you know, hydrated, a place with shade, maybe water the patio a little bit so they're nice and cool. Give them a little bit of a, you know, turn the sprinklers on, let them cool down. Hell, maybe put them inside for a little bit, you know. I hope that's happening, because if not, I mean, I could only imagine the absolute pain and suffering that these animals are going through. But there's always that one problem that I always have when it's summertime. As somebody who parks outside and does not have the luxury of being able to park in a garage, having to get into a car in the summertime, pretty much at any time of day, unless it's like pitch black and it's been dark for a while, like once it's like 10 o'clock, 9:30 even, like on a hot summer day, like getting in your car is awful because it is so hot. And I don't care like how good your AC is, it takes a minute for it to actually cool down. And I've realized that, you know, I thankfully my AC is fixed. It wasn't like it was last year when I went an entire summer with no AC. That was terrible. That was a big questionable call on my end, but you know, I survived. I'm a man. But having AC in the car is such a privilege, because you know, if I didn't have that, Jesus, I would be melting day in and day out in my car, because you know, I gotta go places. I got places to be. Got to go use my car, and every time I get into the car, it's just like an oven in there. It's absolutely terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if my car was in the shade, it would be much better. But it being in the sun, like 90% of the time, it really does, you know, make it like, oh my God, I got to get into this car right now. And then boom, you just immediately start sweating. You're like, dude, this is terrible. And then you just crank that AC up, and you know, you drive fast and get that thing going, and then it begins to cool down. But there's always that pain, that the initial pain of when you step into the vehicle on a summer day that is like unrelenting with the heat and everything, and you're just like, ooh, I really, and you're like, just like, dude, outside is much more cooler than it is in here. It's just insane. But it really does show you that how, cars in the summer are just, I guess it's just like poor insulation, or just because like you're not going to live in there and you have AC, that they don't really need to make anything that's going to, like, how do you say, um, I guess keep the heat out ever in like car manufacturing. That's like never really been like a practice or a thing that they ever really implemented on. It would be cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know how like your house has insulation where it can retain the heat that's inside and it can keep some heat out that's from outside to an extended degree. Imagine if your car had that to an extended degree, like where at least it's giving you like a little bit of a shield from the outside world's heat, and then keeping your heat that you are, heating up your car kind of in the car more. But then again, you also got like the if you keep your windows down and there's no air circulation in your car, especially when it's cold, you'll get like a buildup of moisture on your windshield. You gotta turn on the defroster, and it's like, I mean, you can't really win with a car. If you want to be sealed tight, you gotta have some sort of air circulation. So in a way, it wouldn't even make any sense if you had, insulation or whatever. And actually, it kind of would have been made it a lot worse if you had some kind of insulation. So hey, at least you know that someone like me is not working on automobile engineering or automobile design of cars in the future. Because that was a stupid idea, because I didn't consider the other factors that we have throughout our lives and throughout the year as car owners. So I mean, I drive a Honda Civic. It's not the top of the line car by any means at all, but you know what? It gets the job done. I mean, when the AC kind of went out, I was like, dude, this car, I was talking up this car. It's a good car. It's reliable. It doesn't break down. I've been through like 2 batteries in like 8 years, so it's not like the worst thing ever. But like, they're good cars. They're typically pretty good. Nothing major has happened with the car, so I mean, I can't really complain on that. There really is no reason to complain. But anyways, so we have beautiful days, beautiful looking days in summer, beautiful sunsets. If you have a family, you got kids, the summer breaks are in full swing. You can go on vacations more often. Summertime is like the big time where people go on vacations, and rightfully so. The country just looks nicer at that point. Texas might be bad weather, like very hot, but at least it's not like, gloomy weather or snowing over there. You can go to the East Coast or even like in Chicago and it not be like dreadfully cold. I would imagine like places like Hawaii are beautiful in summer as well. I remember when I went to Hawaii, it was in December and it was still nice and warm. I could only imagine, Hawaii in summer would be like maybe even hotter, but then again, I'm not too sure the seasons, how they operate in Hawaii, being an island country or island state, sorry. I would imagine that those types of, islands that are like, well, it's like kind of like closer to the equator, than California is, but it's an island. But I can't imagine like, because areas in California, especially like at a high elevation, right? They even snow there. And they have seasons and it gets cold, right? I can't imagine there being a winter in Hawaii. Now, I've never been there. Well, I was there when it was in December, so I can confirm you that there was no snow and no cold weather at all in December. But what about fall? What about spring? Do they have like a little bit of a colder period there? Maybe what's the super hot period? I could only imagine like the only like islands are kind of like immune two seasons, I think. I'm not an expert on islands, but I would only imagine like an island only has like one season, and that would just be, determining whether you're like north or south, of the equator. Like an island that's like in Alaska is not going to be like a tropical island at all, like Hawaii. That's much more south, and like a very southern island is not going to be like an island in Alaska and be like snowy and all that. There's just no way. And I also think that planning out a vacation is always like a very, very fun part of summer as well, because it's, the vacation never really goes as planned as you plan out in the future or before you even take the vacation. It's always fun to, try to like map it out on the calendar when we can all, get the time off and when we can all be there and be with each other, right? That's like the part that can be a little like annoying or irritating with some people, but the fact that it is also, a beautiful time, like, yeah, it's annoying, but you kind of like brush that off and like, you know what? I mean, hey, it looks nice. The weather's good, the sun's out. I truly do believe though that summer could be like the most happy season of the year because of how much sun exposure that we could get, that we do receive in the summertime. I mean, the sun really does like energize us. It gives us like joy, happiness, vitamin D, all that good stuff, And I think that with summer being like all you see is sun, you can't really escape it. It just makes it so like it's the happiest time of year. Factually, it makes you happier. But I could deal without the heat though. Like if summer was like 20 degrees cooler where I lived, like a nice like 85 even on like the hottest days, I would appreciate that a lot more than like a 105 or even like approaching like a 110, where you straight up avoid going outside because it's so hot, right? But I love summer. Summer's great, in terms of like days look beautiful, right? The heat I could deal without. It's like a 50-50 with me. Like, yeah, shit looks cool in the summer. Shit looks nice. Shit looks more appealing. Like, I want to go to the beach more. I want to go to the mountains more. I want to go do more outdoor things. But I could deal without the heat, But, hey, that isn't the way the world or the planet works. The Earth is not, like, perfectly round. It's on an axis. It's not perfectly straight up. It wouldn't make sense how it is if that was the factor. If that was, how it was. We would have completely different seasons at different times of the year. Temperatures would be thrown off. Like, could you imagine if we were like a couple degrees, like, off of the axis? Our seasons would be way, way, way different than what they are today. I would like to think, and this is just a theory, a stupid theory, but I have a theory, right? When the dinosaurs were chosen to be killed off, from the sake of the meteor that struck the planet and destroyed it and caused the dinosaurs to go extinct, do you think that that meteor threw the Earth off its axis just a tad for it to create a planet where, dinosaurs could no longer exist, like, ever again? Like, I don't know if we could trace back the data or even, like, do anything to, do some research of how was the atmosphere like back when the dinosaurs were roaming the Earth. If that's even possible, which I don't think it is, how much different would it be? Could mankind survive in those type of conditions, or maybe a modified version of mankind? Could they have survived that? Well, we have an answer to that. There was no mankind back then. How do we know that? When we dig for dinosaur bones, when we find them, we have found no remnants of human being skeletons alongside these dinosaurs. So then, we can prove that there were no human beings around that time. I think that, to me, is a definitive way of saying, like, there were no us during the dinosaurs. It was them and them alone. That was it. Maybe a little bit of, like, small little rat mammals that are just, like, trying to hide from the dinosaurs, but that's about it. I've seen many documentaries, many specials, many CGI things that were created as like a slash between like entertainment and education, saying that, dinosaurs and mammals survive together for a little bit, but like it changes. It varies from like these different, programs that I watch, because I find that subject, and I just find dinosaurs so interesting. I don't know what it is, but I do. Ever since I was in the womb, I was interested in dinosaurs. Maybe it's because my mom and dad saw Jurassic Park while I was baking. When I was in the womb, I was hearing the dinosaurs when they were watching the movie in theaters. And then it imprinted on my brain like, yo, dinosaurs are freaking cool. I don't know if that is possible, but I've also heard that pregnant women will talk to their tummies when they have when they have a baby inside, because the baby can hear the mother's voice. And I think the husband will do that too, so the baby can hear the father's voice. So I think that also translates to, if you're in the theater watching Jurassic Park, I'm going to hear a T-Rex roar, a velociraptor purr, and build a fascination with dinosaurs. That might not be true, but it seems like it could be a possibility. If I was Mythbusters, I would see if that myth is, plausible or myth busted. That's always the thing that could happen. Speaking of dinosaurs, though, the new Jurassic World Rebirth is coming out very soon, and I'm a little bit of a split on this film. The reason why I'm so split on this is because, one, I'm a dinosaur guy, like I said before. I'm a Jurassic Park guy. Jurassic World was cool. Jurassic World Dominion was okay, kind of stupid, and then Jurassic World Dominion, Fallen Kingdom and then Dominion were both not okay, in my opinion. Dominion was the last one with Chris Pratt in the Chris Pratt trilogy. That one was major doo-doo, in my opinion. Did not like that one. Thought that one was just kind of silly and stupid and really just like unnecessary the way it was. It was just so stupid, I thought, in my opinion. So when I see that this franchise is getting a reboot very quickly after quote unquote ending, I do draw a concern of like what the studio Universal is thinking, what the public thinks of this franchise. Now, not everybody who is watching movies today is a guy like me that likes dinosaurs still, right? Not everyone is like me. I get it. It's for kids. It's a kids franchise. But at the same time, who's going to be taking the kids to see these movies? It's going to be the parents. If the parents don't have like any sort of, interest, they're probably not going to take their kids. Probably. There's some good parents that will suck it up and take their kids, and maybe they'll find something that's kind of cool, but, and generally these movies that are going to be, blockbuster hits, they got to appeal to the masses, the young and the old, right? At least that's how I always viewed it, but the thing I'm really, really split on this is that, one, isn't necessary. I don't think it is. I really don't. I get it. It's a whole new cast. It seems like a whole new premise, a whole new adventure. They're trying to get some rare dinosaur DNA from dinosaurs to cure cancer or to cure like some kind of disease, and they can only do that by going to this island, which was a test island. for the original Jurassic Park. This is where they had, where they really tested all their dinosaurs, where they, essentially created them on this island, tested them out, and then shipped them to Isla Nublar, the fictitious island where Jurassic Park is. And that's where they put them on there, and where they became the main attraction if Jurassic Park had opened. So, a little bit of a backstory there that was introduced in this, introduced in at least the trailer so far in this movie, and, introduced into the Jurassic World / park lore. But, that's a cool plot. I get it. It's fine. And I will say, the effects that I've seen in these trailers and these TV spots, they look really good. I think that the dinosaurs look, better than in World for sure. And they look really good. Gareth Edwards is directing this movie, which, if you don't know, he has a huge background in visual effects, special effects, and all that stuff. And he makes his movies and the effects in his movies look really, really good. So I have no real issue in terms of him putting out a movie that's going to look really good. But the idea that, and this is now confirmed, is a lot of these dinosaurs in this movie, I mean, quote unquote dinosaurs, in this movie are mutated creatures that, some look like the original dinosaurs, like the T-Rex looks like the T-Rex. But there's these other creatures that are that look like dinosaurs, that kind of resemble dinosaurs, that you can tell that they're just mixtures of dinosaurs and stuff like that. And there are some that just look flat out weird, like monsters from other movies and stuff like that. That's where I'm kind of I mean, you're there. I get it. They have they gotta have ideas for this movie, but we're trending down the path where can we really call these dinosaurs at this point? This just looks like a monster now, which I get it. Jurassic Park, the movie, is kind of like a monster movie, right? But it's just the dinosaurs are the monsters, but now we're just straight up going to these monsters look kind of like dinosaurs. I don't know. I just think that that's kind of pushing the bar a little bit, pushing the brand, just a little too far for my taste. It's almost the T-Rex skeleton that's on the logo of Jurassic World / Park is going to be irrelevant. When we get to Jurassic World 9, where they're straight up fighting, just trying to, I don't know, fighting, saving, capturing, putting in a sanctuary. Are these even dinosaurs anymore? Or are they just monsters? What are we doing now? The Jurassic and then the dinosaur logo is going to be just irrelevant, because they're not even dinosaurs at this point anymore. I don't even know what they are. Just be called Creature World or Monster World. At that point, I'm just I think we should probably really tone it back a little bit on the way that these creatures and monsters look now, because you might kind of lose the identity of the way that these creatures look, and the whole franchise's brand and what it is. I don't know. And what are they going to do? Are they going to have in this new trilogy, in the past one, it really harkened, and they really like to remember the past movies. That's why they had the T-Rex that was from the first movie in all three of those Jurassic World movies, predecessing this one, in the movie, fighting the other monster, the other dinosaurs, fighting and saving the original cast and all that, essentially being the hero of the entire franchise, which is kind of corny as fuck. But, I understand why they did it. Is because, the nostalgia. It's this is the T-Rex from the first movie, and he just beat up the Indominus Rex. Yeah! Was that the pitch? Was that, the idea of this entire trilogy, to just have Rexy from Jurassic Park 1 beat up all these other, created dinosaurs? Was that really it? Are they just going to, in this new movie fly in Rexy from the old island to come and save Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali from these mutated monsters? Is that what's going to happen? If that's what happens, man, I will be furious. That can't happen. There's no way that's going to happen. But if they did, I would actually probably get up and walk out of the theater. I'm not even kidding. Like, I have already made the decision. I'm going to watch this in theaters. I'm going to give it a shot because I have to. I really do. There's just something about dinosaurs in Jurassic Park that just gets me every time. I just got to see it. I just have to see it. I said that for Dominion. I said that for Fallen Kingdom and World. I just got to see it. So I'm going to give it a shot, though. But I am becoming, while I'm excited, very skeptical of what's going to be in this. Very, very skeptical. And straight up to the border of I'm almost concerned of how this is going to shape up. I like what I've seen. I really do, except for the monster quote unquote dinosaurs that we're getting in this movie. I'll be honest with you. But I am excited, and I would like to see what happens. I'm pretty sure this is also going to be an introduction to a new trilogy, which if you watch Jurassic Park and World, you think to yourself, what else could they possibly do? What else? Nothing, really. I've watched them all many times. And then many times I'm like, yo, what else could you possibly do with this franchise? I don't even know. I think that they even kind of ran out of ideas on the the sixth movie, Dominion. I was watching that in theaters. I had reviewed it on this podcast. And the bad guy was Dodgson from the very first movie. He comes back out of nowhere from the shadows, right? And is just there as the bad guy. And I'm just like, you're the bad guy? The guy that Nedry talks to on that island before he goes and gets killed? Gives him the Barbasol can to put the DNA in. You're the bad guy? It's like they try to do the Rise of Skywalker on me again. And I just saw that. I'm like, yo, I ain't having this. I am not having this. And I ripped that movie apart. I remember, you can probably find my review on the podcast. I ripped that movie apart. It was a terrible, terrible movie. So yeah, with this, I mean, I'm sort of excited. I mean, I am, but I'm also extremely, extremely cautious of what's gonna happen in this movie. I'll just have to wait and see if it is bad, truly how bad it is, and if it's actually pretty good. I will be delightfully surprised, which I hate. I know, I'm very concerned. I'm cautious about it, but if I'm gonna be surprised, I am all for that. Nothing would make me happier than walking out of the theater and be like, you know what, Jurassic World Rebirth was pretty freaking tight. And that would be good for the business and good for the movie as well. So I would be all for that. So last week I had talked about the McDonald's McCrispy chicken strips, chicken tenders, whatever they call them, and about chicken tenders in the in their place in amongst food, fast food, any industry out there, right? Well, I actually got around to trying the McDonald's McCrispy chicken tenders for the very first time. I ordered a 4-piece. And I didn't just get that. I got 2 double cheeseburgers as well because, listen, I don't eat McDonald's very often, but if I am, I'm going to get what I like, And by the way, double cheeseburgers are pretty good in the moment. Pretty good. But I will tell you this. After I ate that, it's not like I didn't feel bad. I did not feel bad. I just felt like emptiness. I wasn't full. I mean, I didn't eat anymore after that, but I just was because it was for dinner. But I was just like, wow, I don't feel like there's really anything in my stomach. I don't know if anybody else gets that feeling too when they eat fast food or whatever, but I didn't feel like I had anything in my stomach. I felt like I ate absolutely nothing. It was weird. Nonetheless, though, had the tenders, got a 4-piece. And I decided, I said, you know what? I'm going to try your McCrispy tender chili sauce or whatever the hell they call it. And upon the review of the McCrispy chicken tenders, I will say that those tenders were not very good. Not at all. For one, they're kind of flat, which is weird because usually I want like a little bit more volume with a chicken tender, like a little bit more of a thickness to it. And it was just like more of like a flat patty, but cut into a strip, which I was just like, what the hell is this? I thought I ordered chicken strips, not like pieces of a chicken patty, but nonetheless, I was like, I'm gonna carry on and eat them. And then in the name it says McCrispy. I guess McCrispy does not mean crispy, because that, my friends, was not a crispy chicken tender whatsoever. It was not crispy at all. The breading was like maybe paper thin, and there was just like absolutely no crunch to them at all. The flavor itself was okay by itself. The sauce was not to die for. It wasn't like the Bell sauce or the spicy ranch from Taco Bell. Not much to talk about on that. It was really just kind of, a forgettable item. I will say, an item that's getting a lot of publicity and a lot of press. It does not live up to the hype of what these people are saying. Maybe they got a fresh batch, and maybe I just got a bad one. I went around dinner time, so I don't know if I got a bad batch. I think they're not that good. And you know what? This only proves why McDonald's should just stick to what they got. They don't need to make newer items. You make a good double cheeseburger. Stick with that. Stay in your lane. You don't need to make crispy chicken tenders. McDonald's, that ain't you. That was never you. You make double cheeseburgers and chicken nuggets. That's you. Do that. I mean, you don't need to branch out and make so many items and stretch out your menu and not able to put in, the equal amount of care into everything that you have on the menu. Come on, guys. I know you're McDonald's. I know you're ambitious. I know you guys want to conquer the world in terms of fast food. You want to stretch the board. You want to conquer. I understand. But I don't think that you need to conquer that much. I think it's like a wasteful effort, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. It's a waste of an effort. No one's going to be like, hey, McDonald's, they got better chicken tenders than Raising Cane's. Or, Chick-fil-A. We should go there instead. I don't think that you should, do that. I don't think that should be your aspiration, your goal, to be the best place to get a chicken tender. Like, nah, I don't think so. But, I guess if old Ronald McDonald is cool with that, and Ronald McDonald is like, you know what, the future is chicken tenders, and I guess you have every right to pursue that. But at the moment, like right now, you might have to rethink that recipe, because that ain't it. It just isn't it. Just like not at all. And it was disappointing. It really was disappointing. I used the app, so I got some discounts when I was ordering, so it wasn't like I was, totally ripped off in a way. So, thank God for your app being so, deal friendly with me, even though I barely use it ever. Like, I barely get McDonald's, so like I was surprised I'd even got like a reward to use, because I saw like I had 0 points on there. I'm like, well, do I even get anything? And then I tapped on rewards and then dailies and all that, and I scrolled down. I'm like, oh, look, I can get this. Cool, I'll get it. So McDonald's McCrispy chicken tenders, man. They're in my opinion probably not worth trying. Not that great flavor wise. Like, it's nothing to be like, oh, this is just like, this changes the game. Like, nah, it's not even close to that. It's just like, they're just like chicken pieces of a chicken patty that's like barely seasoned or like with a very below average seasoning that, you could probably make better at home. I'll be honest. Aaron Rodgers is now one of the quarterbacks on the roster for the Pittsburgh Steelers. At the age of 41 years old, the man has signed a 1-year contract, guaranteed. I think is a $10 million guaranteed, potentially $15 million. I think 19 with incentives. So $10 million guaranteed. And is now a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is attending the mini camp essentially right now, and I gotta say he looks like he would be a good fit for the Steelers quarterback. Like the image is there. Like I can see Aaron Rodgers being like a good fit for the city of Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh Steelers as their quarterback. The question is he going to have the athleticism, the accuracy, the strength to play quarterback at the ripe age of 41 to a level where he could actually succeed on the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because this is a 1 year only deal. So it seems like to me like this is like a trial run for him and for the Steelers. Like, okay, we just got to get somebody in here. Maybe it's just to get us like 8 or 9 wins potentially. Or actually they'd hope for like 9 at least, because 8 would not get you above 500 in modern day NFL. You would need 9 to do that. So they probably like think like, can Aaron Rodgers get us 9 wins and get us over 500? Maybe give us a shot. If you watch football at all, you know that the Pittsburgh Steelers are like pretty much have that mentality for like the past like 8 years. That's like been like their mentality. Like, can we get into the playoffs? Can we be good? Can we make a run? And then especially with this year with signing Aaron Rodgers, it's never been more clear that that's like their I wouldn't say goal, but like their plan for this year, signing Aaron Rodgers for a 1-year deal. He's 41. Next year will be 42. Has had injuries, tore his Achilles 2 years ago. Has not looked the quickest out there. Still pretty sharp, but not very quick. Not very able to escape the pocket as much as he used to. But he has DK Metcalf over there. He's got some good players around him. He's got TJ Watt on the defense. That's going to help him out quite a ton. But, that 1-year deal for me, is just like telling like this is just going to be a one and done type of thing. And then next year he's gone. I don't know. The players even at his advanced age, do not like signing 1-year contracts. Like that is like a no for them. Most players are just like, 1 year? What do you think I am? But for him to sign this one is just like kind of telling like this might be his final go at being a quarterback in the NFL. But we'll see. I think that it's going to be kind of like a mid-season, to be honest with you. They're probably going to shoot for 9 wins. I can see them getting like maybe 7 wins, 7 or 8. 9 would be like a successful year, I think, for them. But they would have to hope that they can beat the Browns, the Bengals. They would have to probably even go for 10 wins because of their division. I mean, the Ravens are going to probably win that division. The Browns are not going to win it. The Bengals are going to probably be the number 2 in that division. It's going to be a fight between the Bengals and the Steelers of who's in second place of that division, potentially going to be in one of the playoff slots, because I just see the Ravens winning that division out probably with very little resistance in that. That's just how I see it. But they'd probably have to hopefully overperform if they want to make the season a success. Which I think that they, I know that every single NFL team is going to be like, we need to view this as a successful plan. That way we can make the playoffs and potentially win the Super Bowl, right? That's every team's goal. That's not, they're not going to be like, you know what, guys, we're going to just go for like maybe finishing third place in the division and trying to get a winning record. That's not their approach at all, by the way. Some people like to think that, and some people like to think that teams are okay with that kind of thinking. They're not. These are competitors. These are professional athletes, professional coaches. These are straight up businesses that earn a profit from winning games and selling tickets and having a team that is worth seeing and worth tuning in to watch. So the better the team, the better the earnings, and to be better is to win your games. And if you continue to be better, you'll be the best, which equals winning a Super Bowl, right? So I really don't subscribe to the idea how people can just view a team and be like, yeah, they're just going to probably shoot for maybe not being last place in the division. That's so stupid. How could you even think that that's what they're thinking? That is just so silly to me. Anyways, that's enough of sports. I will be moving on to some nerd shit, some video game crap that came out this past week. It was the Summer Games Fest. If you don't know what that is, it essentially has replaced E3. It is no longer called E3. It is called Summer Games Fest, where, developers, publishers mainly announce new games that will be coming out this year or in the near future. And, I'm more of an Xbox guy. Haven't been very happy where they've been treading these past couple of years, or maybe even last year for sure. But I always like to give them a shot because to me, I'm still kind of a holding on to for dear life, for Xbox, for them to succeed, for them to do well, for them to make a game that, might, bring people back to Xbox, even though they're already kind of sinking that ship a little bit themselves with putting all every game that they've had that was going to be an exclusive, no longer be an exclusive and just be on, PlayStation nowadays and even Nintendo. So now nothing feels sacred anymore. So, couple games that they announced, and I'll just run through at least the games that Xbox announced and which ones might pique my interest. And I gotta tell you, man, it's not a lot. So we'll start from the beginning here. They've announced that they will have The Outer Worlds 2. Okay, sort of interesting. I didn't play the first one all the way through, but it was kind of a cool game. All right. And this will kind of be out of order, just kind of how I see it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, The Order of Giants, which is a DLC. That could be pretty cool. Fate's End. No, not for me. Final Fantasy 16 Complete Edition. Not a new game, really. I mean, okay, if that's what you're proud of, then I guess you guys could put that out and advertise that and make that part of your showcase, whatever. Clockwork Revolution, don't care. Age of Mythology, Heavenly Spear, no. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Intergrade, no, don't care. Why? I mean, where's the new games? We've only seen a couple so far. Super Meat Boy 3D, no. Ninja Gaiden 4, no. High on Life 2, that one is, very promising. People really like that one. It's a new game. It's going to be a sequel to that one. That could be a really fun one. See, I'm not all negative on this. That's something that I think is a win for them. Persona 4 Revival, no thank you. Sea of Thieves, I mean, what more can you add to that besides, IPs, maybe a couple more pirate outfits. There are no ghosts at the Grand. Don't know what that is. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, games that have already existed for a decade. The Blood of Dawnwalker, don't know what that is. I don't even know what that is. Aphelion, don't know. Animo, don't know. Grounded 2. I mean, is that a game that like needs to have a sequel for it to be, to get new players? Wouldn't you just like add more to that game? Because it's like a survival game, like in a backyard, but you're like a midget. Not a mid. No, you're like the size of Ant-Man. It's like a survival game when you're like in the backyard, but you're like the size of Ant-Man. So it's like a big open world type of survival game, kind of like Ark. But Ark also got a sequel too, and which is a game like it's also like, did you need a sequel for that, or could you just add more content? I don't know. I'm not a game developer or a game maker, so I don't know the ins and outs of that business, but it seems like they probably had to hire new people to do a new job for them to stay in business. So that's why it's called Grounded 2. Invincible Versus, which is a fighting game, 3-on-3 fighting turn game in the world of Invincible. I've never seen Invincible, so I mean, I guess that could kind of be cool. People really like the show. They like the IP a lot, so I guess that could be kind of a success. But nothing really so far that's really like screaming like this is what Xbox is all about, Nothing like really having any sense of pride that is taken like, we are the brand, we are the game that is on Xbox. Nothing that really is like making me want to even play Xbox at this point. Let's continue. Kronkos, the new Dawn, Kronkos, I don't know. Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf, no thank you. Beast of Reincarnation, no thank you. Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy, nope. And Gears of War Reloaded, which is a remaster, another remaster of the first game. Oh, and I cannot forget the final reveal. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Yeah, nothing there, honestly, is like jumping out at me that's like, you need to play this now. I don't know how far we have fallen in the passion department, but it seems to be very, very low. Especially for a field and a practice and a profession that you could say is based on and molded and driven by passion. There is no passion there whatsoever. There are so many remakes, so many sequels, which are not as bad as a remake, re-releases, special editions, collector editions. I mean, like, there's just too many of those that are coming out this next year or so from Xbox. None that really catch my eye. I mean, Black Ops 7? Now, I saw the trailer for it. It looks, it's a cinematic, and I saw that there was like a tease at the end of some guys in wingsuits flying over a big map. And I've heard around the internet, streamers, what have you, that this will be the return of the first Call of Duty Battle Royale ever created, Blackout. That this could potentially be Blackout 2 that we are looking at right there. It's a possibility. My thoughts on that are, well, that might actually be the play. They've essentially killed Warzone again, so they got to pivot. What was successful before Warzone? What hasn't seen the light of day since Warzone took over? Your first one, Blackout. Black Ops 7 will be the new Call of Duty this year, so it's a perfect opportunity for it to pair up with, to have Black Ops 7 come out with Blackout 2. I know it kind of sounds similar, right? I mean, if you're not a gamer, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but hey, Call of Duty might need a win here. I mean, it not a might. It needs a big win here, like a giant win. And if bringing back Blackout is going to do that, or at least kind of save it, then you got to do it. I mean, I think you might have to. This company, Activision, and Microsoft really don't really understand anything about identity anymore. I mean, they don't have any pride. I'm going to be living in a world where PlayStation 5 owners are going to be playing Gears of War on their PlayStation. What kind of country is this? Where they will have the ability to play Gears of War on PlayStation. Remarkably sad. It's a sad day in our country. Sad day in our country's history that we will have to go forward with Gears of War being on PlayStation. A tragedy. A real tragedy. You remember the days back then where Xbox had Gears of War, PlayStation had Killzone. There was competition. There was passion. There was pride. There was creativity. There was a battle. There was an urge. There was a fight. There was earning your customer, earning your gamer. Succeeding. Earning the success. That is gone now. We're in a very, very dark age where they don't care anymore about that. None of that is even thought of. None of that is even preached. Back in the day when Gears of War would be going up against Killzone, I mean, that was it, baby. That was it. That was when the industry was strong. It was thriving. The industry now is weak. It's sad. It's embarrassing. It's pitiful. It's not worth spending money on. Why? Because all these games are going to be on Game Pass day one. So, I mean, I don't know where we're heading. This news of Gears of War on PlayStation really, really did kind of make me question where this country is actually heading. Not good. Not good at all. Very, very sad. Sad, and I'm just like, it gets even worse. There is the ROG Xbox Ally, the handheld Xbox console, whatever it is also coming out. Microsoft is now leaping into the handheld field. Nintendo's been doing it for years, succeeding for years. I mean, their console is essentially a handheld device as well, both couch gameplay and mobile gameplay. Now we got Xbox trying to do the same thing. Well, not really, but just making a handheld version of the Xbox. No real prices on there right now, but I mean, I was sick to my stomach seeing that. I was just like, who's gonna buy this? Who? I don't know anybody who's like going to actually buy an Xbox ROG Xbox Ally. I'm sitting here thinking like, no one buys an Xbox anyway. Who's going to buy this? This is a sad investment. One that is not going to pay off. I can already tell it's not. And that was actually revealed on the Game Fest. I'm not trying to be sad, but seeing a company that I once loved and once appreciated and went to war for, not actual war, but defended, argued, debated, yelled for, spent money on, multiple consoles at some points. I had my own. My brothers had theirs. Many controllers we went through. Many games on many of the same games because the console would actually break the games. On and on and on. It really is sad to see that this company has given up on innovation and the ideas and pushing gaming forward to just coasting. Just selling what's going to make them a cheap, quick buck and overcharge and barely have any new games. Putting out Black Ops 7. Putting Gears of War on PlayStation. Not announcing anything that is like that defines Xbox. No Halo announcement. Which you can go either way. Halo right now is not a good spot, really. So do we need a new Halo game? Some people say yes, others say no. I'm typically like, it's not in a very good spot right now, so like maybe they should not announce it, but others will disagree with me. That's fine. But the pride and the passion and the will and the uniqueness and the separation between them and PlayStation is gone. It truly is gone. Now my friend has said to me that maybe they're purposely sandbagging and just digging them a hole right now. And that maybe next year it'll be like a we're back type of thing. And I tend to agree with that because there was just so many opportunities in this one that were just like so missed. I mean, no, not even Fable was mentioned in this at all. There was nothing new from Fable, from the Halo 1 Combat Evolved remake, or even a new Halo project. Nothing. I mean, now that Gears of War is going to be on PlayStation, we really have nothing to look forward to as Xbox loyalists other than Halo, which is a franchise that is barely treading water at this point. So it's sad. It really is sad. And meanwhile, we get the Nintendo Switch 2 launch, which has only one game that is built in and optimized for the PlayStation or for the Nintendo Switch 2, which is Mario Kart World. Everything else is already existed for Nintendo Switch, or a game that has been recently ported to Nintendo Switch, like Cyberpunk 77 or 2077. That's it. Nintendo Switch has one game right now. One goddamn game. Isn't that fucking crazy? And people bought that for one game. I thought about it. I thought about buying one. And it's just like, And now that I'm talking about it with myself, I'm like, damn, thank God I didn't buy it. Because I would have only had one game. Damn. Ain't that insane, huh? Well, not to end on a sad note, but it's just like when you have a company that you once were like, these are my guys, they know what I like, to like not be with you anymore, to kind of go away from you and destroy that trust that you had with them. And you guys, we no longer see eye to eye, is quite sad. Quite sad indeed. Xbox has fallen, I think. They have fallen. And it's sad. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.